Hey y'all. Um, so I wanted to make this video to kind of talk about some stuff from Atomic Habits that I can kind of attest to, like working and helping. Um, I read Atomic Habits a few months ago, and it was really like very helpful with like improving my life and improving my habits themselves. To kind of give a brief, quick overview of what the book contains, it's this whole like very well written book about the science of good habits. And one of the big points within the book is that you should not try to willpower stuff. Ideally, you choose to change your environment in such a way that it is conducive for your habits, instead of just hoping that you're going to act in the way that you want or need to. That is super helpful, and I think that's something that one thing that people get stuck on is thinking that they just need to try to willpower it, when if you haven't made any sort of if you haven't changed your pattern of thought or your like environment in any way, realistically you're not going to really see any results, right? So that's one of that's a big part, a big thesis of the book. The second part is that it talks about like the 4 laws of habits, which is cue, craving, response, and reward. So cue is whatever cues you to engage in a habit. So, whenever someone sees an ad for a food company, that's a cue to eat. That that gets your brain moving in the direction of food, right? Craving is just whatever. It's something that makes it. It's that like attractiveness of something, right? So going back to my food metaphor, if I show you some food and it's the best food that you could ever taste, but it looks like crap, you're not going to be very invested in it. You're not going to really want to eat it. But but in reverse, if it looks great but is crap, you're going to be very prone to eating it, right? I mean that in the sense of like if it tastes good and looks good. That's what I mean. The third law is cue, craving, response. Response. This is where like your actions. This is like the action that you take. The more obvious the response is, the more likely you are to engage in it. Then afterwards, you have reward. This is probably one of the more obvious ones. If you want someone to, let's say, recycle, then if you give them a little bit of money for so and so much metal or aluminum that they give you, then people are going to be more likely to recycle, that sort of thing. So kind of having like gotten that out of the way, I do want to talk about some habits that I've implemented or some hacks, I guess, that I've implemented from Atomic Habits that have been super duper useful. The first one is like writing down your habits, like keeping track of your habits. I remember at one point, he's commented on this channel before, so I don't think he'll be too angry if I say his name, but a family friend of mine, actually, no, I'm not going to say his name, but a family friend of mine, at one point told me that while he was an engineer, that one of the things that they would drill into their brains was that whatever can't be measured can't be improved. And in my experience, yeah, that's actually very true. You know, whenever, like, for one habit that I've been trying to keep up with is, you know, being healthy, it is so much easier to write down the things that I've done in the day and see if I've done them or not than it is to just kind of hope that I do them right. That is a way of making it, like, obvious, and it's a way of rewarding yourself because, I mean, you know, you can look down on a journal like, hey, you know, this day I did all halves I wanted to with this, blah, 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 blah. It's like, it's incredibly helpful. Another habit that is mentioned within the book that is also super useful is, it's super small, but, or, well, it's not small, but it's something that is kind of obvious, but I think it kind of needs to be reiterated, is if you need to kind of have an environment where you do certain things, right? There's a really interesting study, I think about this all the time, where it mentions that people who had insomnia, like really bad insomnia, at one point were told that they should only go in their beds whenever they felt sleepy, and whenever they couldn't go to sleep, that they should afterwards, like, just, you know, do something, you know, relaxing and enjoyable, and then go back to bed whenever you feel sleepy. They did that, and their insomnia, for many of them, their insomnia was, like, totally eradicated or, you know, significantly reduced. And another example of this is, you know, people have offices, people have studies, people have kitchens, people have, you know, different places to do different things, and that improves the experience of doing that thing. So I think, like, having a specific place to do work specifically has helped me, like, to no end, right? I have I've showed this on the channel. I have a specific spot where I go to study, and you know, kind of generally do pretty much just to study, just to read, to work, to write. And that has actually, like, completely changed like my daily routine, like my week to week. It's significantly improved my happiness because having that space, having that separate space, like, cues me to work, and having that work itself is also very helpful because it's something that is meaningful. Like, and at the end of the day, I can say, hey, you know, I did something that I enjoyed doing. And I mean, ever since then, I've been, like, way more productive than I have been in ever. So it's kind of some examples of this. I know one thing that people talk about a lot is if you're, like, a student, then studying not at home but, like, at the library is super helpful. Like, you know, whenever after you're done with school, like, driving to the library and studying there does really help. Going back to what I said, like, only using your bed for sleep, like, not working in it, not maybe trying to avoid eating in it, you know, that sort of thing. That also significantly helps sleep. So let me think. What other habits have I picked up from that have helped? I think one thing that's also helped is kind of some of the mental notes that they've mentioned that you should kind of try to pick up. One thing that they mentioned is whenever you do end up engaging in a bad habit, something that you should really do is kind of not really think to yourself, oh man, dude, you're doing so terrible, you gotta stop this. The big thing that you should do is kind of like note that, like you're watching another person do that, like, that's not good, or oh yeah, that is good. And part of what this does is, like, for instance, in smokers, it's noted that part of the reason why people get addicted to things in general, but including cigarettes, is someone will be addicted to cigarettes, they get stressed out by the fact that they are addicted to cigarettes or something else in general, it doesn't really matter. Then they'll take a smoke that provides temporary relief, but then that adds into the problem again, leading, like, almost like causing that stress that leads to them wanting the cigarette. It's like like with any habit. I mean, you do something good and you feel good about it, and then you want to do it again, that sort of thing. So that's one of the really important things to remember about habits, is not really feeling overt, like not just being so focused on the guilt. It can definitely, can't really speak to this, but it can maybe help to focus more on like actively what you are or can do than it is to just focus on like this negative habit that you picked up, like focusing on doing what can be done to positively affect your life instead of focusing on what you are doing to negatively affect your life. That I don't know, that might be the conclusion that you can get from that, but yeah, those are 3 takeaways that have stuck with me from Atomic Habits for months and months now. I hope they help you, and I hope you enjoy this video. All right, bye.